Hare Krishna, everyone. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, everyone. Let me start, continue reading where we stopped yesterday. Professor Sanyal translates the dramatic refusal of Haridasa Thakur as if my body be hacked into pieces, if life itself deserts, even then I will not give up the name of Hari. And Raghava Chaitanya Prabhu translates it. Even if my body is cut into pieces and my soul leaves the body, I will not give up the chanting of Sri Harinama. Raghava Chaitanya Prabhu comments on this bold and fearless declaration of Haridasa Thakur. What a brilliant example of a firm determination and a noble ideal of extraordinary willpower. For every aspirant marching towards God realization, this example of Haridasa Thakur is like guiding star. He also comments, the words of Haridasa Thakur were like piercing shafts released from the powerful bow. Everyone there was taken by great example. Sri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur also comments powerful about the extraordinary statement which expresses the deep conviction and courage of Haridasa Thakur. This material body which is received from the mother and father is not permanent. The life is ours to the service of Krishna and which is presently absorbed in the material happiness is also like perishable and changeable. But the holy names of Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord himself are not two separate objects. Spiritual names are not like the names of the material objects that are invented by human beings within the time factor. The spiritual name and the possessor of the name are one. Therefore, I never give up the chanting of holy names and repose my faith in my gross and subtle bodies. The constitutional position of a living entity is that he is eternal servant of Krishna. In other words, every living entity is Vaishnava. The Vaishnavas has no other activities than chanting the holy names of Sri Hari. The only duty of both the practitioner and the perfect being is to chant the holy names of the Lord. I cannot give up this up to follow the man-made social behavior. Even if the result is that society and its administrators torture me as much as they want, I'm prepared to tolerate all with a smiling face. I never give up the eternal service of Hari to run after temporary material happiness. I have no other activity that congregationally chanting the spiritual names of Krishna that I have received through discipline succession. I have no other activity than congregationally chanting the spiritual names of Krishna that I have received through discipline succession. Both the body and the mind are distinct from I. The owner of the body, because I am eternal and the body and the mind are temporary. The king was frustrated by Haridasa Thakur's powerful resolve. His hope of saving him from Kaji's wrath was now thwarted, and he resigned, turned to the fierce Kazi, and asked, now, what will you do with him? The reply was forthcoming. He should be beaten in 22 marketplaces of Amuya, Ambuya Mulka, taking his life in this way. This is my opinion. If he survives being beaten in 22 marketplaces, then I'll understand that his actual knowledge and his words are true. Some British guards were summoned and instructed by fanatical and cruel Qazi, beating him in such a way that he will die. If a Muslim who follows the Hindu religion is killed, then he will be delivered from that sin. The king, instigated by vicious clerk, gave the order, and Haridasa Thakur was roughly seized. He was taken from the market to market and beaten without any mercy. While being beaten, he constantly chanted the holy name in ecstasy. His ecstasy was so intense that he felt no pain. However, seeing the severe beating and torture of the saintly person, the pious people became very distressed. Some of them predicted that destruction of the kingdom. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur states By oppressing the Vaishnava in this way, great inauspicious will soon fall on this kingdom. Simply as a result of torturing the Vaishnavas, the world faces various miseries like famine, drought, plague, and war. Some some of the people curse the king and the Qazi that and other were prepared to fight them. Still others offered the Muslim guards bribes in the hope that could convince the guards to soften their blows and spare Haridasa Thakur's life or to stop the beating altogether. Nothing any of them said could stop the terrible onslaught. The sinful guards showed no mercy, and they continued beating Haridasa Thakur with a tremendous force from market to market. Still, by Lord Chaitanya's merciful arrangements, Haridasa felt no pain whatsoever in the spite of such heavy beatings. The scriptures explain that Prahalada felt no pain when he was mercilessly beaten by the demons. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments on this incident with an obvious reference to his own efforts to propagate the Sankirtana movement, just as Hiranyakashipu tortured his Bhagavata son Prahalada in various ways. See Srimad Bhagavatam 7.33 to 53 and 7.81 to 13. The sinful Muslims also began to torture Haridasa Thakur in various ways. But like Bhakta Raja Prahalada, he did not feel a tinge of misery. The quality of tolerance, this is natural for the Bhagavatas. They are so busy in constantly serving the Supreme Lord that incidents of external world like torture cannot give them any anxiety. This is a great point. Uh, the quality of tolerance, I'm reading again. The quality of tolerance like this is natural for the Mahabhaktas. They're so busy in constantly serving the Supreme Lord that the incidents of external world like uh, like torture cannot give them any anxiety. This is why Sri Gaurasundara has stated in his Sri Sikshastaka that the only one who is more tolerant than a tree is able to glorify the topics of Krishna, not others. If a practitioner is intolerant, then he will not be able to glorify Hari because we have seen in innumerable cases in this world that persons who are averse to the Supreme Lord have unfairly and unnecessarily attacked that all auspicious and honest preacher engaged in chanting the names of Hari have tried to close his mouth, which is engaged in glorifying Hari. The sinful society that is intoxicated by pride related with family, caste, wealth, and material education always try to completely stop glorification of Hari, which is only absolute truth. Even on even on the dishonest pretext of uh, duplicitously joining this Sankirtana party in name, they silently oppose chanting the holy names, which are Satya Vastu, the absolute truth. Satya Vastu, the absolute truth. Upon reading the account of Haridasa Thakur's torture, some readers might think that such incidents bear no relation to their own attempts to become Krishna conscious. It may be possible for liberated persons like Haridasa Thakur, the Namacharya, the incarnation of Lord Brahma, the eternal association of Lord Chaitanya, to undergo such severe tests. But what has any of this got to do with me? I'm an ordinary devotee trying to chant 16 rounds and teach whatever I know to others. How I express to be tolerant? How how can I be expected to be so tolerant? Yet the 20th and 21st centuries, we have so many examples of heroic devotees who are prepared to risk everything, including their lives, to fulfill the desires of Srila Prabhupada and the discipline succession. We're stopping here, Prabhu. Okay, with this, let's go back to the top of the section where we started, Prabhu. Um, it is wonderfully explained here. Many things like how we need to do a practice our strong. It really shows our the determination of Srila Bhakti Haridasa Thakur, how even though he was beaten by the people and tortured, he never gave up, and how every aspirant should do it march towards the God realization, taking Haridasa Thakur as a guiding star. We have to take him as an inspiration and do our sadhana. We may get so many distractions, so many things. We may not have torture like the way it happened to Haridasa Thakur. That is extremism. But we have a lot of things that comes in our way. These are like the life problems, small things. We find reasons to not to do. I will not do it. I'm not feeling well. I'm sick. I'm so and so. There is nothing different than this. This is here. It is an extreme example to demonstrate it. But if you give our own things, we have several things. We create our own problems, and we find reasons not to do it, and we may do it partially, and we give actually, to be honest, we give how actually we will not do it, and we come up with a reasoning first, much even before. Actually, we won't get to the reasoning till it is not done. If it is done, it's all good. When we don't get not do it, we find reasoning not to do it. So this is an example of how we can take Haridasa Thakur as a great example, as a guiding star, and we should do it, and yeah, how important it is. And there are some more topics we discuss, which are highlighted. Can we do further, Prabhu? Uh, it also says we did talk about how Haridasa Thakur says, I have no other activity than chanting the spiritual names than names of Krishna, which I received through discipline section. See, it says about how the body and the mind are distinct, and but the body is temporary, where the I, which is soul, is eternal, and the purpose of the soul is to connect to the God. Um, that's a very good point. And further going is that repeating the same. Uh, he was tortured. Haridasa Thakur was tortured, beaten in 10 and 22 different places, trying to take his life. If he survives the beating, then then they were trying to actually know the knowledge and his words. And without not reading further, I believe that's what happened. He survived. So I think that's one of the things. Yeah, and we have a point as well. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, by oppressing the Vaishnavas in this way, great inauspicious things will happen to this kingdom. Simply as a result of torturing the Vaishnavas, the world faces various miseries like famine, drought, plague, or war. Yeah, if you try to torture a pure devotee, these are the things that will happen. They were afraid, and I think some of them. Uh, they talk about even though he was tortured, he didn't feel the pain like Prahalada, Bhakta Prahalada was been tortured by Hiranyakashipu and his followers. He didn't feel any pain because he was in the pure divine presence of the God. You won't feel it when you are in that if pure devotee. The quality of this tolerance is like natural for all the Maha Bhagavatas. Yeah, this explains perfectly with what we're discussing. And with that, I just wanted to conclude.